Good morning and welcome to the Good Food Network for the first day of October. This is an orientation call. It serves as a place to see the lay of the land, to see what's on offer this month in the Good Food Network for anybody who's planning to join us. So it's serving one of two purposes. I like to have this as a public section or as a public session rather, so that those who may be interested in joining us would have a guess as to what's happening. What are all the moving pieces of the Good Food Network? And then to see if it's something that would fit with where they're at currently and the kind of support it is that they're looking for. So if that's you and you've been curious about the Good Food Network up until now, I'm going to take you for a run through on what it is we've got on offer this month. So that's coming up in a minute. But before we do that, you need to know if what is on offer is going to be what it is that you need. So first things first, hello. I'm your holistic nutrition practitioner. My name is Lucas Simmons, and I'm coming your way here from this beautiful land I call the Netherlands. Other people call it that as well. I've relocated, if you haven't heard, about a month ago. My husband and I moved here as he was following a dream and a job that came up with a lovely, lovely group of children. So we are now situated here for the next year, maybe 3, looking to just have an adventure. But the Good Food Network continues, and my work as a holistic nutrition practitioner also continues. And what we've been doing in the last month of the Good Food Network is everything about the thyroid. So if you have a yes to any of the questions I'll be asking today, know that it's not too late to join us. We've got a bunch of new stuff available. And that's what this network serves. It is a repository where there's a time limit that sort of helps to light a little fire under your butt to let you know what is coming and what is going to disappear so that you can start to dive into your to-do work. So we've got lots to cover. So I want to first ask, what are those top 10 ways to know that your thyroid is potentially struggling? Is this you? Because that's what our main topic is. So is this you? Number 1, do you have a diagnosis of Hashimoto's, hypothyroiditis, hyperthyroiditis, Graves, or maybe you have a goiter? Or maybe you've had thyroid cancer. All of what we're going to be covering in the Good Food Network this month will appeal to you and will be with you in mind. We're diving into a lot of different content. I'll show you what it is that we're covering, but these are the main reasons somebody may want to join us in the Good Food Network. That's not the only one though, it's just the first one. If you say yes to any of these diagnoses, consider yourself a contender for joining us in the network. Number 2, are you on any medication that would tell us that there's a thyroid issue? What I'm finding often, depending on who your caretaker is or who your medical practitioner is, sometimes you put on medication, but you're maybe not told why, or it's never clearly explained, which is okay. The medication is there to help address whatever the issue is. But are you somebody who is on levothyroxine? There's another name for it, Levoxyl. You might be on Synthroid, or you may take desiccated thyroid. So those would all be indications and medications in particular aimed at addressing a thyroid issue. So did you say yes to any of those? You would do well to join us in the Good Food Network. Number 3, now we're getting into the symptoms. Do you persistently have cold hands and feet? And it's not because you don't dare turn on the thermostat yet because you're too cheap. Yeah, it's because you consistently have cold hands, cold feet. You're always cold whenever you're in a room somewhere, especially if you're sitting still or lying down or having a rest. Number 4, do you find yourself with low energy? Do you have low energy, fatigue, brain fog, or maybe you've got an energy slump middle of the afternoon? Do you find you're really wishing that there could be a nap session worked into the schedule at work? Or do you sometimes dream of being an aftercare worker for children in school so you can nap with them? Yeah. Those are an indicator your thyroid is potentially struggling. Anything to do with energy output, where it's dipping, where you're having a kind of time during the day. Ooh, how's your thyroid? Number 5, is your stamina waning? Is your vitality in the toilet? Do you feel like you just don't have the chutzpah to get through things? Do you peter out of energy? Do you just don't have what it takes to do the things, all of the things? And now you find yourself having to spread it over 5 days. You do well to join us in the Good Food Network this month. Number 6, this is the one that I see the most often: chronic constipation. Chronic constipation, years, decades worth in some cases, or months worth. Are you constipated and do you take a fiber supplement and it doesn't help? Yeah, fiber supplement will only help a very small portion of those who are struggling with chronic constipation. What's behind that? An underperforming thyroid in most cases, not all, but most cases. Have you had a lifelong history of constipation? How's that working for you? And are you ready to let that go? Is it time to let it go yet? Or do you need to still hang on to it? Pun intended. Oh my God, I'm funny. No. Number 7, does your mood struggle? Do you have low moods? Do you have anxiety? Do you have anything that sort of vacillates between the two? My question would be, how well is your thyroid functioning? Your thyroid is in charge of mood and a lot of cognitive function in the brain that has to do with perception and how you can get through energy of the day to do things and to achieve things. Sense of self gets impacted when some of that is not functioning as well. How's that going for you, pal? Are you okay with where it's at? Do you want it to change? If you don't want any of these things to change, please don't join us in the Good Food Network. But if you are wanting to shift how these are on a day-to-day basis, know that we've got the door open in the Good Food Network and we'd love to have you. Okay, number 8, bone density issues. What? What does that have to do with the thyroid, Luca? Oh my God. What does it not have to do with it? Osteoporosis, osteopenia are not necessarily you're not eating enough calcium kind of scenarios. There is something about the process of getting calcium into your bones that's not working in the body. Do you know one of the principal hormones involved in the deposit of calcium in your bones is a hormone called calcitonin? Calcitonin. Oh, well, that makes sense, right? Calcitonin for calcium. Okay, so I need good amounts of calcitonin to get calcium in my bones. Correct. What organ makes your calcitonin? Your thyroid. Yeah. Yeah, so if your thyroid is struggling, if you're on any of these medications, or if you're saying yes to some of these other symptoms, have you gone to get a bone density check recently? And they're like, actually, things are looking a little not awesome. And to add further complication to this, some of the medications for thyroid actually make it harder for you to absorb calcium in the first place, sort of compounding things. Yeah, I know, not awesome. There's a lot of things we can do with nutrition to try to support that to better function. Okay, that's number 8. Number 9, I was just working on this. Do you have cholesterol levels that are too high? Do you know, in most cases, it is an indication of thyroid issues. Yeah. I'm going to dive into it in a full 90-minute class later this month. And it is a part of the Good Food Network. If you're in the network, you get into this class, no problem. There's the capacity to just take the cholesterol class by itself. But yeah, do you have cholesterol levels that are too high? Have you ever had to take medication along the way to bring some of those levels down? Do you have a family history of elevated cholesterol levels? I do. Yep. Number 10, do you have keloids or a type of scarring? Which shoulder is it? It's this one. Yeah. So I was in a car accident long time ago, and I had surgery on my shoulder in 1990. And the scar that formed, I don't know if you could see it well there, but the scar that formed used to be this very super bulbous thing and was really they call it keloids, where it was this extra deposition of some tissues there to part of my body's mending process, I suppose, but is a clear indicator that there's a thyroid underperforming in the scenario of somebody who develops keloids or has really big kind of scars. little bit more exaggerated than you would expect from perhaps a surgery scar. Another way it can show up is these bumps. I happen to have these bumps on my face. Yep, those are keloids. They are deposits of certain things where the metabolism of fat is not working properly in my body. That is a long-term potential thyroid piece to the puzzle. How many of these did you say yes to? There's way more. I would dare say anything that has to do with being human has the potential of having thyroid at the root. How many of these did you say yes to? If you said yes to even one, I'm telling you, you should join us in the Good Food Network. We've got lots of symptoms to go through. I'm going to read through, I'm going to show you what it looks like for these symptoms. Before we do that, I want to show you what the Good Food Network looks like. So you can have an image of what it is, so that might help you figure out, oh, okay, I said yes to these things. Okay, now Luke is offering solutions. I know I don't want to stay in this position forever. I know I want things to shift. And maybe you're saying to yourself, I would love to work one-on-one with a naturopath or with Luca and nutrition or something else, but the cost is outside of my realm. I think I need just something that is okay for my pocketbook, where I'm going to go do the work myself. I got the thing for you. Let's go over to what the Good Food Network looks like, okay? Voila. Once you are signed into it, this is what it looks like. So let me do this and let me maximize, because I think you have a little bit of a better sense of how to get to it. So here in the Good Food Network, it is hosted on a platform that's called Practice Better. I call it the hub. Whatever you want to call it is fine. Whenever you log in and you've plugged into your password, once you get to your home page, it looks very utilitarian. The cost is it's fairly low on this service for me to host, because I'm one of the original people on it. So my cost, I've been grandfathered in as one of the originals. So my cost is doable. So it's why I can keep the cost of the network low. There are other programs out there that might be fancier and but maybe super better looking, but I gotta tell you, once you figure out how this works, it is awesome. So when you want to get to the Good Food Network, you've got it here, GF Network, or you can find it under Programs. Programs, same thing. Just click on wherever you want and you'll see it there. So there's the Good Food Network. So we've got a menu here on the left and a menu here on the right. These are all the different parts to the Good Food Network. So now we're going to dive into a little bit of what this network can look like once you first join us. So you always start with the module that says Start Here, Kitten. This will have a little bit of a rundown of what to expect in the Good Food Network, what it's about, and how to make best use out of it. The replay to this particular session you might be watching is available right here, gives you an orientation. And then this gives you a rundown of what the different parts of the network are and how you might best utilize them. So when you first check in, make sure you go there. But let's take a look to see what other symptoms might be indicated when you need to support the thyroid. What other ways could we know that your thyroid is in need of support? Now look at this really long list. Now you're going to see, okay, just let me preface this with, I like to say, being human is a thyroid-sponsored act. So this is everything that is at play when the thyroid is not necessarily working well. Your metabolism is off, which means anything that takes energy output to do a thing, raising my arm, making a grocery list, running after the children, going to the loo, digesting the steak I had for lunch, those types of things. Is your metabolism off? Do you have low energy, fatigue, brain fog? Stamina is low. Weight gain is a really big indicator. That's one of the metabolism kind of markers. Cold hands and feet. Is your hair thinning? Do you have cracked heels? That's another really big indicator. It's not because you're not putting enough hand cream on your feet. It's because the same scenario of whatever's building these keloids is not necessarily working well for skin health. Yep. Dry skin, same mechanism, just showing up in a different part of the body. Hashimoto's, Graves, hypothyroiditis, you have goiters, you are taking Synthroid, levothyroxine, Levoxyl, you have mood troubles, your digestion isn't working. Yeah, your thyroid's in charge of that. If you're constipated, bone density issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia, Dull aches and pains. Yeah. Your libido is waning for sure. Do you know how much thyroid has a part to play in that hormonal health piece? All hormones. Yeah. Libido, fertility, period issues. Yeah. If there's a slow onset of that first period, sometimes there can be a really big part to play here from the thyroid. If you have erratic periods, painful periods, breast cancer. Oh, honey, breast cancer and thyroid low function go hand in hand and prod each other, actually. I know, suckerino. You are correct. Cholesterol levels are elevated. If you have leaky gut, the first thing that gets thrown off course is actually your thyroid. If you have keloids or scars that heal extra big, or if you have adrenal fatigue, here's what happens. The more stress you're under, the more inflammation you've got in the body. Add it all up together. All of it turns on the stress response in the body, everything. When that stress response gets turned on, it dials down your thyroid and it goes to your backup generator because your thyroid's kind of your main engine. So whenever you've got a lot of stress, thyroid gets turned down, ramped down. Where do you go for energy? Oh, you go to your backup generator, the adrenals. So if you have adrenal fatigue, it's actually because you can't get your thyroid online and you've been relying on the backup generator. I'm pointing there because they're at the bottom of my back. Yeah, if you're relying on your adrenals for energy, it's because you're not properly able to rely on your thyroid because it's offline. So working on your thyroid helps take some of the pressure off of adrenal fatigue, pal. Yeah. Those are all really big indicators that your thyroid is impacted by a pretty dang high burden of stress. So this is everything. So your symptoms, the stress in the body, your chronic disease, if you have autoimmune, if you have low-grade inflammation, if your liver is not working, it will further compound things in the thyroid. If you have histamine stuff, this will add to what's going on. And very often in my clients who have histamine issues, we do a component where we look after metabolism and the thyroid. And I cannot tell you how much we see a reduction in some of those symptoms. Yeah, absolutely. They're tied together. Blood sugars out of balance also drive this. Adrenals tuckered out drive this. Nutrient deficiencies that your thyroid needs as ingredients, which is probably the biggest piece of what I do. All of this is shutting down your thyroid and now impacts your metabolic health. Why is this important? Because the more you drive up this burden of stress, the more you're going to take your thyroid offline, and the more now you're going to prod the inflammatory response in the body. So the work we're doing in the Good Food Network is to stop this in its tracks. So this is everything that we're doing. When we support the thyroid with deep pointed nutrition, when we address any of those nutrient deficiencies, when we reduce the burden on the body of that stress load, then it's the same as chronic disease and addressing inflammation. When we support your mitochondria for that energy piece, then we also support the liver. Now you're going to see a reduction in those symptoms that you said yes to. So in the Good Food Network, let me show you, once you've gone through this module, once you've gone through any module, they're all the same. You've got to mark completed up here at the right. This is what I'm going to encourage you to do. Click on mark completed because it confirms you've done that module already, and now you're not going to need to go back to it. You can if you want, but you don't have to. See, next time you log in, when you look at your modules, it says this module is completed. That was the main topic on thyroid. Oh, I've already done it. Oh, I don't need to go back and do it again. Nope. But you can view it if you need to go back to refer to anything you found in there. Now, the network itself is broken down into 4 sections. The first one is start here. The next section is pre-recorded content. The third one is live sessions. And the last section is called written content. They're exactly what they sound like. Start here is where you need to start when you first join us. So go through there. When you first log in, the first of the month, always start with your schedule and checklist. So if you're new to the network, or if you've been in for a while and you've forgotten what to do, come back, do the schedule, print up your schedule, your checklist, and your worksheet. Always start with those 3 print ups. They are 1 page each, and they will help you know what's happening when and help you make sense of things to plan for the month. So this is the schedule for the month of our live sessions. So we have one a week, Thursday mornings typically. We have an extra one in the middle of the month where we have a 90-minute class. The class this month is SOS cholesterol. Every Thursday morning, we have a 30-minute session called Food is Medicine. And those are more pointed topics on one thing with 3 solutions baked into the half hour so that you can know what your to-do work is. Below that, we have the checklist for the month, and this is what it looks like. So you can just print it up. It's very easy to print up. You just download to your computer. You print from your downloads folder. When you first get started, this is what I propose you do. Print this up because it's going to give you all of the potential things you can do in the network. And for 35 bucks a month, this is a lot. Yeah, for sure it's a lot. And if you're only investing 35 bucks, you're not going to do every piece in the network. I don't know that anybody's ever done all of the moving pieces, but I offer you a buffet. When you go to the buffet with your family, if there's 4 of you in the family, when you go to the buffet, does everybody take everything under the buffet? No. Do you go back for seconds? Yeah. Do you only put what it is that you want on your plate? Yeah. And that's what I'm going to propose you use the network. How you use the network, rather. Build your own plate. What is it that you're going to want? What is $35 worth to you? Is it 1 hour a week? If it's an hour a week, you've got plenty of options you could do here. So if you wanted to, another way you can use this checklist is here on the left, there's a little bit of space. You can put in order what it is you want to do. You can also scratch out any of the options you don't want to do. So if you're like, I already I don't use canola oil. I'm good. I know how to use fats and I use butter all the time. I'm just going to scratch this one out because I don't need this one. So scratch it out. It's not even going to be one of the things you can do this month. Okay. Oh, I've already done that Vitality Thyroid class. I don't need to do it this month. Oh, but I do want to make that pizza class. Okay, so that's going to be the first one. I want to make sure that I get in and I do that pizza class because it's such a fun class. And then you get to choose through there. So we've got the different pieces. There's a live class every Thursday. There's a live class on October 16th. We've got recipes for the month. We've got Eating with the Seasons handout and the weekly challenge every week. So go ahead and print this up so that you can leave this next to the computer or your tablet so that you can take yourself through the work for the whole month. There's also a 1-page cheat sheet that everybody gets to build with every month. So we're doing thyroid. This is for October. So I've already filled in the date and the topic for you. You want to prioritize 3 to 5 things to do this month. So for example, this Thursday, we're doing a session on iodine. So in iodine, I will talk about who in particular needs to look at the iodine intake in their foods. There's some very telltale signs. And then from there, I will give you 3 ways to incorporate iodine into your regimen. One of them is feature seaweed on the regular. And I give you different ideas on how to do that. My favorite is a little salt shaker of seaweed on the side of your stovetop and use it every day, at least once a day. So when it comes to watching that session, if I'm Judy and I've just watched and I realize, oh, when Lucas said, I don't have enough saliva, oh, that totally like, yeah, for sure. I don't have enough iodine. Okay. Or I've had breast cancer and I have thyroid issues. I'm on levothyroxine. I think I'm really low on iodine. I need to bump up my iodine. Okay, well, whoever is saying yes to those is going to now go through those 3 ideas that I talk about in ways to incorporate iodine. And Judy will want to write down here, action item regarding food, foods I want to feature and why. Oh, I'm going to add seaweed every day so that I can get my iodine. And then she might put dry saliva, she might put breast cancer, whatever it pertains for her, she'll make it personal. And when you write it down, next time you come watch another class, now you write that down in your notes. And over the course of the month, you start to build your own cheat sheet that gives you your to-do work when it comes to supporting your thyroid. So by the end of the month, you may have, oh, I want to eat, well, what was the food this week? The challenge this week is to eat olive oil. Oh, I want to eat olive oil. Okay, make sure I'm drizzling olive oil on things. Make pesto once a month or those kinds of ideas. So I give you lots and lots of ideas. You are the caretaker of it, and you have to amass all of the little breadcrumbs I leave, and you put them on a one-page cheat sheet. This is your roadmap. This lives in the kitchen, and you work on just building those into your regimen on a regular basis. And after a while, you realize you've been doing it, and now you're ready to add more pieces. So these are the 3 sheets. Once you've printed them up, go ahead and click on Mark Completed, confirm. I want to go back to my program. Okay. If ever you have questions on your network subscription, they will all be in there. If you need to change anything, if you want to cancel anything, if you have questions about stuff, you're changing your credit card, that type of information is in there. Now, that's the admin stuff, the start here. Pre-recorded content. This is stuff that you can, on demand, access right now. There's 3 of them. There's a 30-minute module on navigating fats. If you have any questions on this topic in particular, this is where you're going to want to start. It's a 30-minute module, and it talks about the good fats, the bad fats, and how much to aim for and why it's so beneficial. We've got a 2-hour class on the thyroid this month, and this one is a doozer of a class. It is 2.5, 3 hours or so. The handout is here. So here we go. You've got 2 modules. One is 55 minutes. The second one is 40 minutes. Maybe it's not quite 2 hours. So, but it's a deep one where we go into what's going on and then getting into your solutions. And then we've got some extras. And of course, there's recipes and all sorts of things in there. So if you're going to catch this class, once you've completed it, go ahead and mark completed. It lets me know that you're engaging with the content, which I love. But it also lets you know so that next time you log in, oh, I already did that vitality class. Oh, but I haven't done this one. What's this one? Ooh, I want to make some pizza. Then you can go in and watch it. So this is a 90-minute class. It's just a cooking class. And it is me and my kiddo making some pizza. We're actually making some tonight for dinner. And this is she and I in our kitchen in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. We ran a cooking class for junior high kids. And it was we had 72 people. It was a riot. We had a good time. So join us, make time for this over the course of the month to join us in our kitchen. We've got a grocery list and a pizza making handout in there. So get your groceries, get set up, prop your computer up in the kitchen, and join us in the kitchen for a really fun time. We just have a riot. And Eliza is actually really good at helping move through things that people might have questions about, because she was approaching it as a beginner, because she'd taken the class once and now is helping me teach it on the second round. So really cool stuff. That's a fun little extra tidbit. That's like a bonus piece to being in the network. A little cooking class, if you will. Now we've got 2 live sessions. So our Thursday morning sessions are here. And these are the topics we're covering: iodine, fluoride, and chlorine, and how they play with your thyroid. Do you think they play well? Do you think they don't? I guess we'll answer that question. Yeah. The curious link between your liver and thyroid and why you can't do one without the other. We're also going to talk about copper and vitamin A and how these are the unsung thyroid heroes. Then we'll get into essential roots and shoots for the thyroid. So these are all meant to be a little bit in like looking at things really tightly at some of the nutrients that you need or some of the things that hinder the thyroid. So at each of these, there's a replay. They're always loaded here. So if you can't join us live, once you join us in the network, know that you'll be able to see the latest session up at the top, and then past sessions will get bumped down to the bottom there. So that's one of the live sessions. The other one in our live sessions is that SOS cholesterol class. So we are doing SOS cholesterol this month. And this is taking place at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, Wednesday, October 16th on Zoom. So this tells you where to join us, how to join us. And then the replay is going to be here. So you'll have until the end of the month to access that. There's a handout in there with recipes as well. And then some other options for those who are interested in going a little bit deeper if they need more support. So those are your 2 live sessions that we do. Where I usually tell people to start once they've got their checklist printed. go in and go to the written content because you can knock this off in about 10 minutes and you've already done a bunch of stuff. Every month we do 5 recipes. Now, they went out this morning to everybody who's on the subscription service, but those who are in the network, they don't have to pay extra for the recipe subscription service. It's all included. So yeah, I've sort of pieced things out so that it doesn't feel as overwhelming, but I'll tell you, for the price of 35, you get everything. So these are the recipes this month, and I have low histamine alternatives for each of the recipes this month. There's a pizza sauce or a no tomato sauce, lettuce boats for the thyroid. We've got butter chicken, a creamy mushroom soup, which I recipe tested last week and works well, a matcha latte, which also offers a moringa latte for those who cannot tolerate matcha, like me with histamine things. So you've got recipes all down here. Start there. Just download right to your computer, print them right up. Once you've printed, click on Mark Completed. Let's see what else is in that written content. Written content. We have that weekly good food challenge. So this is what I post on my social media account. So I always talk about, you have way less on the social media one, and there's way more in the Good Food Network. So we expand on it a little bit more. We talk about the 3 nutrients, how to select, how to make sure that you're getting good quality stuff. This links out to the post on Instagram if you'd like to see it. And then I always offer a couple of different ways to dive in and to work it into your regimen. And earlier challenges are going to be here, but the latest one is always going to be at the top. So make sure you check these as I post every Monday, the weekly Good Food Challenge. Now I want to show you one last module. This one is meant to help you align with eating with the seasons. Every 3 months, we switch up this module. So right now we're in knee deep here in the Netherlands anyway, to fall. The photos I'm seeing from Alberta are also knee deep in the fall, a very different fall, not as rainy. Oh my God, it's so rainy. Anyway, this is a super delicious season. So we have a little video that takes you through why aligning with the seasons is one of the ways that I think we can bring a reduction in the stress levels in the body. It's one of the cheats to get into helping reduce what is driving chronic inflammation and disease and symptoms. So eating with the seasons, what does it mean? What does it look like? And what do we reach for? Well, we've got a handout. We've got a bundle of recipes as well. So here, for example, here is that handout. So in each of the 4 seasons, we have a 1 or 2 page kind of thing that you can post up on your fridge so you can get to know these foods. Reach for these foods when they are in season. They are also, we've got superfoods, teas, roots and shoots, herbs and spices. These are very much in particular in support of the organ of the season, according to traditional Chinese medicine. And we also talk about maybe different ways to help think about how to align yourself with the fall season. So I really like this module. It's a little understated, but the pieces I propose in this can be a way to find your way through the wildness. So if you're joining us in the Good Food Network and you're like, okay, yeah, I get that I have to eat real food. Okay, I get all the real food thing. I need something because I feel like there's always this long list of things to do in my head. I want to know what's a way to just think about going forward, to just calm the chaos and to give me a bit of direction. This is the module you're going to want to go to, the Eating with the Seasons module. So look for that in your written content. There's a couple of recipes at the bottom as well, so make sure you print up those recipes and that you work those recipes into your rotation. Now, those are all the different moving parts to the Good Food Network. I want to show you one last thing. Here we've got a chat, a group chat with the Good Food Network. And yeah, okay, good. I want to make sure you can't see who's in it. Yeah, okay. So here, every time no, it never works well here. Okay, I am going to show you a different way to access it. But you can access the chat here. So there's a group chat where everybody who posts something, it will be seen by others. But I want to show you another trick here too. If you go back to your home page, to access your home page, oh, for goodness sakes, it's going to get me to do this every time. since I moved to the Netherlands. I can't tell you how many times I have to check my passwords on things. So when you get back to your home page, and by clicking this image, you should be able to get back to your home page. Up here, there's usually a chat bubble. It's not there anymore. They've taken it out. Is it down here? Okay, just a second. Let me see if it shows up this way. No. Oh, it used to be here. They've changed it. Okay. So it used to be, there used to be a little bell up here that you could access. So let's go back to our program. Let's go to GoodFood Network and let's go to that chat function. So here in the chat function, it's really hard to tell, unfortunately. It was better to access the other way. If you can't quite see it, just maximize your screen and you should be able to see it. But here you've got, it's a new month, new content. You can print up your checklist, top thing I recommend. So this lets you know that there's new stuff. So you're able to go and print. Every time I upload or update something in the network, I drop it here. So you're able to see it. Every Friday, I drop something too, something to read over the weekend. So you get a little bit of extra stuff in there if you'd like as well. So a good rule of thumb is when you first log in, go to the chat, see what is new this week that's been added. And that might help give some direction as to where you can find good content. Now, as for the live sessions, so because I don't want it to, nope. That's odd. It doesn't give me the, okay, we're going to try this again. Yeah, it's going to do this again. Oh gosh, this is annoying. Okay, so when you get back to your home page, it'll work for you because you're not in the Netherlands. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm going to contact their help. Anyway, when you're looking to join a live session, so for example, this one right now is called the orientation session. On Thursday mornings, we do our food as medicine videos, and once a month we have that live class. You're going to find them in this widget called upcoming sessions. So Tuesday, October 1st, right now, this is the one. It's 5 p.m. my time where I am. Whatever is the time where you are will be marked here. It adjusts to your time. So know that whatever's marked there is in your time zone. So we've got a food as medicine quick weekly video coming this Thursday. So when I'm ready to join that session, I just need to click on this little camera icon and it's going to take me directly to the Zoom session. So keep that in mind for any live sessions you're going to join us for, especially those Thursday morning sessions or that live monthly class. That's the SOS cholesterol class. So any of those live sessions found in that widget for live content, these are the live sessions. So both of these will find the Zoom link right on that homepage widget. And that's that for the rundown of what you can expect in the GoodFood Network for the month of October. Now, we have, I can't remember how many people we have in there right now, about 12, I think. We have 12 people who are coming and going when they're able to join. And for the most part, catching replays. So know that what I like to recommend, if you can set 1 hour aside per week, you will get excellent value in the GoodFood Network. If you find yourself struggling with thyroid health and you really want to get started on things, but you've never been able to book in with me because of the time constraint, because of the commitment, or because of the financial commitment, the GoodFood Network is a really great place to start with, especially if you're struggling with any of the symptoms we name checked at the start of our session. Because this is the day-to-day small tasks that you build one thing at a time. And over time, as you start to make them a part of your everyday, this is how I propose we be humans for the rest of our days. When I talk about seaweed, that was one of the recommendations today. When I talk about having seaweed every day, that's good for life. It's not good just for 3 months. We're talking about for life. So this is a how to be human program, how to nourish the human. And you can do it for yourself, but I'll tell you, if you're doing it for others who are sitting at your table, it is going to benefit them as well, whether or not they have a diagnosed thyroid issue. Everybody needs their thyroid to work well. Everybody could do well to nourish their bodies with real food. What the network does, it helps clear away the confusion, addresses some of those things that are specific to your particular situation, and gives you that to-do piece so that you know how to move forward. I had originally intended for the network to be there for former clients once we had run through our content together. But it turns out I'm getting more people who, oh, that's not true, actually. No, everybody who's in the network except for 2 are former clients. Yeah, so that is what it is serving. And we're talking like when I first started in 2014. There are some people who are in the network right now who started with me 10 years ago. And I was speaking with one last week, actually, and she said, oh yeah, what I really like about it, she says, I need those reminders. I need those reminders on a regular basis because I sometimes forget, because it does seem like there's so many things, but you get into the rhythm of what it looks like. And she says, what I like is every seasonal shift, your tune changes a little bit and you invite me to go with you. And it feels like it's just another thing I don't have to actually think about. It's not another thing I have to keep track of. It's just another guide into how to shift with the seasons and how to focus on ways to take care of myself. So if this is something you've been looking for, I would love to see you in the Good Food Network. Wherever you're watching this video, you'll see links to register down below. I'll tell you, click on that link. It's going to take you to a full long page of long explanation of things. Scroll down till you see 2 big banners. How do I know if the network is for me? How do I know if the network is not for me? That's going to help you decipher and answer your own questions so you can make that decision yourself without me sitting there going, are you going to join us? I just gave you a half hour of my time to talk. Are you going to join us? Pressure. I don't like that pressure. I don't want to give you that pressure. So it's all in that link. You can register through that link and you can read more about it and figure out if it's the right fit for yourself. And as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can find me online, lucasimmons.com. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday morning where you are, evening where I am. And I look forward to seeing you in the Good Food Network. Salut, à bientôt.